welcome back. This is a video review of the Welder 70 watt soldering iron. Now I got this for a kit that I actually got from one of the museums that I went to in San Francisco. Now this kit is supposed to help you learn how to solder, and it gives you a circuit, but we're not going to be talking about the circuit today. It's just this soldering iron right here that we're going to be talking about. So when you first take it out of the box, the first thing you'll probably see is just this base area over here. The stand won't come attached, you'll have to attach that later, but you'll just have this base area and you'll have this little peach colored thing, and that is your sponge. So that's also used to clean the soldering iron. So when you turn this on, usually it'll go red. I have red numbers. And there's settings in which you can change the temperature you want your soldering iron to heat it to. For most soldering irons, it doesn't matter. It matters what the solder is though. So the solder right here that I'm using is lead-free solder because lead is harmful to humans. So for lead-free solder, generally the best temperature is 650 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what I have the stand set to right now. So all you have to do is just put this guy in here, like so. You can just wait, and because that wire is attached to the soldering iron's the structure itself, that means that it heats through the wire, so it doesn't heat through the stand. So while it's heating, you can just touch the stand. The Welder soldering iron also comes with two additional tips. This thinner tip right here, this is 0.8 millimeters. While this thicker one right here is 1.6 millimeters. Sorry about that. Now the differences between the two tips. Now the finer tip right here, as well as the tip I'm currently using right here, these two are best used for just soldering components. However, some people break their wires, and I've done this in some of my projects before. And say this wire breaks in half, right? You need to solder it together. You can't just put taper on it, and you can't just glue it, right? So you need to solder it together. So that's what this thicker tip is for, is to solder wires together. Especially these thicker wires where you can use a lot more, just blunt force. Now, the one thing I really like about this is the amount of control that is given when you're soldering. So with my previous soldering iron, my hand kept shaking around while I was trying to solder, like so. But now, because of the grip and how it's shaped, it's really easy to solder here. And it's just so easy to solder components on. It's like really simple. Now let's talk about some of the stuff I have here. So when you're soldering, this is the solder board that I've used. So right here, we've got a few instances of this. Now if you can zoom in on this spot, you might see that these two outer solder joints are touching the middle one right here, and that is called a bridge when you're soldering. So to solve a bridge, or first let me say that a bridge can cause a short, so it can really damage electrical components, and it won't make your it won't let your circuit work anymore. So to fix a bridge, one thing we can do is we could take our soldering iron, we could take the tip, and we could just take it and we could just rub it across the bridge. Just drag it. Super simple. Just drag it across the bridge. And that'll kind of detach all of the hardened solder, and it'll make the hardened solder softer again, and then it'll stick to your soldering iron, and then you can just clean it off in here. Let me mention what this is. This is actually a brass cleaner. So if I try to take it out, it's kind of like this sponge thing that's made of metal shavings, okay? So because of its hard texture, but it's also soft compared to other metal sponges, when you clean it, it really cleans the soldering iron good. And mine's actually black in a lot of places because I haven't been cleaning it very responsibly. So that's something I really need to do. Another cleaner we can use is flux paste, which is rosin flux paste, which I also got from Weller. Now this paste also helps clean because it's flux, the same thing that these lead-free solders have the core in. That's flux. So flux really helps you clean it. The last thing I have is this little green thing. Now, out here comes a copper braid. Okay, if you zoom in on it, it's like a braid. So this copper braid is used so when you're heating up something, when you have maybe too much solder at a joint, like one of these bubbles here, when you have too much solder, you'll take your soldering iron, like so. I'm not left-handed, so let me switch this to my right hand. With your dominant hand, you're gonna apply the soldering iron to the joint that is like bubbling or too much solder's on it. You're gonna heat it up. Then once it melts, you'll feel like this weird like thing, and it'll just kind of become liquid, all of it. When it melts, that's when you put this guy in, and it like kind of attracts the solder, and you take it off, and then your solder's here, and then either if you don't have much solder left, or you have enough solder, you can reapply it, or you can just keep it there. Then once you're done with the braid, you can just snip it off with a pair of tweezers or scissors, and then there's more braid that you can unspool. So now the last thing about this welder right here. Look, so all of these were done with my previous soldering iron. As you can see, these smaller ones, it was really bubbly right here. It was really, I don't know how to say it, but it was very inaccurate. It was very unreliable. It wasn't giving me the same output every single time. But here you can see how clean each solder is and how they're cone shaped around the wires of this right here, which is my PCB board of this circuit that I'm working on right here. So I still need to solder a lot more things, I know, but I think this soldering iron is perfect for any beginner or any person seriously into soldering irons, and this is just the perfect soldering iron for anybody. So if you want to learn more about soldering irons, you can stay tuned for our next blog post on bitesizebuilds.org. You can just stay tuned for that. It'll be coming in a few days, and that's going to go over how you solder. It's going to give you a few examples, and I'm going to solder with you guys, and that's just going to be a really fun video. I'm looking forward to next time. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and thank you.